So, seeing as you found this video, you're either someone who really enjoys watching other people being bitten by snakes, or you've recently purchased an Amazon tree boa yourself and you're looking for information on how to take care of it. I do have a fairly extensive write-up about the care of these animals on my website. In the video description I'll leave a link to this, but for the purpose of this video, I'll just try to give some basic information about how to take care of them. Amazon tree boas are what's known as arboreal snakes. This is why they have such slender and long bodies. They use this to climb trees, which is where they spend the majority of their life above ground. These snakes can be found in a variety of different colors and patterns. Often the snake's price is dictated by this. Amazon tree boas are known for their aggressive nature. If you're going to own one, you're likely going to be bit numerous times. Being bitten is not particularly painful. They do have extremely small teeth. They're more like the size of a pin, really. But they will draw blood, and if you're someone who's squeamish about this sort of thing, it's probably not the best snake for you. If you're able to see past this though, they're pretty interesting animals. And in terms of cost, they're on the lower end when it comes to tree snakes. I've had this one for a number of years now, and it doesn't matter how many times I handle her, I'm still bitten every single time. I did notice when I pulled her out this time that she'd had a rough shed. This is something that's caused by poor environmental conditions, and although it shouldn't happen, if it does, it's not the end of the world. You can simply soak them and then slowly pull the skin off. As you can see, she doesn't much appreciate my efforts to help her. It really doesn't take a lot to entice this snake to bite you. It really doesn't bother me to be bitten on the hand very much. As I said, it's not very painful, but I do try to keep her out of striking distance of my face. That's the moneymaker after all. It's said that these snakes can grow up to 7 feet in length when fully grown. I'm not sure that mine is that big, though it's really deceptive when you look at them because of how thin they are. Without ever having actually measured her, I'd put her at around 4 to 5 feet in length, and I think that's around average for this type of snake.
Gotcha, bitch!
Because of how thin these snakes are, it's not the type of snake you'll ever be feeding large prey items to. You need to make sure you're feeding it appropriately sized prey. Small mice, pinkies, and fuzzies to begin with, but at max you're probably going to be doing a small rat. These animals prefer to live a solitary life. I have heard of them being kept together, but in general, most people would advise that you keep them separately. Their general alertness and willingness to strike at anything they can makes owning them very entertaining. And to the right person, owning a snake that's very aggressive, but at the same time unable to inflict much damage, is probably a bit of a draw. It's actually not uncommon for these snakes to break their teeth when biting into something. This really isn't a cause for concern though. Snakes are able to regenerate their teeth, unlike human beings. On a couple of occasions I've had to pull these teeth out of my skin after being bitten.
I'll never let go. I promise.
Okay, unfortunately I think I'm gonna have to speed this up a little bit.
Two hours later.
Though not technically necessary, I keep my Amazon tree boa in an elaborate bioactive setup. This type of simulated environment does well for this type of snake because it gives them lots of room to climb, which is essential for arboreal snakes. The benefit of it having live plants also helps to keep humidity high, which is good for this snake as well. If not using a tank with plants, then UV lighting is also not necessary. What's important is that these snakes have room to climb, so a tank with some height is essential. The other most important factor, as with all reptiles, is consistent heat, and also humidity, which is provided by daily misting. Keeping your source of heat to one side of the tank is also recommended. This will create a temperature gradient and allow your animal to regulate its body temperature at will. On account of the fact that this snake spends most of its time above the ground, a heating mat isn't really recommended. I would go with a basking bulb. An ideal temperature range to aim for is 75 on the cooler side and around 90 on the hot side. In this animal's natural environment, temperatures would naturally fall during the nighttime. To simulate this, I use timers on my lighting system. Because you haven't yet quite seen this snake bite enough, I'll now talk about feeding and give a quick demonstration on this. As aforementioned, it's important to consider the size of the prey you're feeding to a snake. The general rule of thumb for feeding snakes is that whatever you feed it should not be much wider than the thickest part of its body. With that being said, Amazon tree boas are slender snakes, and as such, you shouldn't feed them large animals. I've had this snake for a number of years now, and despite it growing substantially, the largest thing I feed it are rat pups. These feedings will occur 2 to 3 times per month. Amazon tree boas have an exceptionally strong feeding response, and provided they're healthy, you should have no difficulty in getting them to accept food.
Get in my belly!
Being that these snakes are constrictors, they will instantly coil around whatever prey they've attacked. To the snake, it makes no difference whether or not this prey was alive or dead. This is a natural instinct, and a snake's gonna do what a snake's gonna do. A constrictor will not release its grip from its prey until it's sufficiently satisfied that it has been killed. Once this instinct has been satiated though, it will begin to slowly devour this animal.
Sanka, you dead?
Yeah, man.
In my experience, even the slightest vibration or rustling around inside of its enclosure is enough to draw an Amazon tree boa out from where it's hiding and entice it to attack whatever food you're offering it. In summary, an Amazon tree boa is a great pet for the right person. But its less simplistic care and aggression are two things that need to be considered. If this video has been at all helpful to you, or even just amusing, please consider subscribing to my channel. These videos take a lot of work to make, but I'm committed to consistent uploading. You can also find more in-depth information about Amazon tree boas on my website, or if you have general questions, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm always happy to help people out.